Hey there, welcome to Studio 5, a fashion icon who changed the way beauty is seen and defined. New music inspiring those who feel disconnected from God and bringing awareness to mental health through a new film. That's all coming up on this edition of Studio 5, but first let's get right to the countdown of the top 5 stories in this week's look at uplifting entertainment. Here are number 5 and number 4. At number 5.
You're doing the Super Bowl.
Quit playing with me, man.
You're playing the Apple Music halftime show in Vegas.
No, for real, don't play like that.
I don't have time to play.
And with that confession, the news is out. Usher headlines the 2024 Super Bowl halftime show.
And Usher joins us now from Paris. This is his first live TV interview since the announcement.
The big game kicks off from Las Vegas February 11th. And prayer is a big part of Usher's preparation.
There's part of this, right, that is your calculation of what you think you need to do for your audience. And then there's God. Like, I remember when it started raining in the middle of Purple Rain, Princess said, like, how could you even compare that? You know what I'm saying? I'm a praying man, and I'm really, really humbled that I had this opportunity. You know, this is something that both my nanny and my grandmother really wanted to see happen, and they're no longer with me. So they'll be watching from the best seat in the house, from the cloud above. But I really am, I'm a praying man, and I want to make it the best performance that the world has ever seen.
At number 4.
Pay us more!
Some Hollywood picket signs are fading to black.
One of the 2 strikes that have shut down production of movies, scripted TV programs, and talk shows may be over. Striking Writers Guild union members got an email Sunday night announcing a tentative agreement with the Alliance of Motion Picture Television Producers. The writers have been on strike since May. The email calls the deal exceptional with meaningful gains and protections. The union's board needs to approve it, then the full membership before writers can return to work. Union actors remain on strike.
Well, the countdown has begun, and now we turn to an intricate and powerful story of beauty. Bethann Hardison is known by some as the godmother of fashion. She fought for diversity and inclusion in the modeling world and changed the way beauty is seen and defined. Now a film chronicles that journey. She joined Studio 5 for a look at the film, along with a co-director.
I always know you can change things. I've done it before.
Who is Bethann Hardison?
I started recognizing that she was this force of nature and this almost like philosopher. And then after the process of making the film, going deeper into the story of what she had actually done, how she had conducted her life, I became a little shy of her because I became really impressed.
Everyone's talking about diversity and inclusion. That directly stems from the work that Beth-Ann did.
Without her, the opportunities wouldn't exist for me to do what I love.
She's like a second mother to me.
That one shining light of kindness.
How difficult was it to navigate how this story would be told?
It was a very organic process, and I think that was a result of, deciding to work together as opposed to me doing a portrait of Beth-Ann. It was like us both co-directing, and I thought, by collaborating, it would be a human adventure. I would be able to go deeper with Beth-Ann, and it really did.
We're all students of Bethann Hardison.
You heard it first.
She didn't want to be front and center, but she came to the realization that's kind of she had to, and she didn't think she had a story, if you can believe it. Like, she didn't really think there was a story to tell.
She's the godmother of fashion.
When I started, I was the first black-looking model on 7th Avenue.
There was no people look like me.
I knew the difference of segregation from childhood. These people thought that we were less. I let them know we are here.
I got a chance to talk to your co-director, and one of the things that he said that surprised me was you didn't think you had a story to tell.
Well, if you're a real true just soldier, you're just a soldier. And you're doing the work. You don't sit around thinking, oh my God, this is so amazing. Someone should do a documentary about this. You're hoping that you make that move that works. You hope that you can make a difference. You know in your heart you can. You're counting on those that you're sort of like speaking to. But, but at the same time, you don't think that, until I saw all the footage, he sent it to me. He was so nervous. He said, I promise you, that was a moment I knew that that's it. Now I know you've made me a believer.
She realized she was the message. She represents this power.
One of the things you said at the very beginning that touched me is you seem to always know that you could change things. And I'm curious, where did that come from that you felt, I can change it, I can change it?
At some point, you just know that this is your journey.
A lot of designers did not use models of color.
No blacks, no ethnics.
You don't know what it's like to be invisible.
Where are the black girls?
You made strides and then sort of departed the modeling industry, if you will, and then watched things fall apart. What was it like to see that you made this progress and it seems like things just went in reverse in your absence?
Yeah. Well, you know, it just wasn't even in my, it's just that the game changed, that the industry changed. So all of a sudden, designers were hiring outside people like stylists. But you could see that the people who are doing it don't recognize what they're doing. They don't see it. They don't see it like I'm seeing it, or like people of color that are in the industry are seeing it. All of a sudden, you were there before, now you're being erased.
She moved our glamour and our good looks into the arena of activism. She's a game changer.
She sacrificed a lot.
What inside you made you want to be an activist? What made you decide, okay, I've done that.
I want to be an activist. Oh, no. Oh, my dear. I didn't, want to be an activist or, an advocacy or anything. You just, I knew I had the audience because people in the industry respected me. And I knew that I could say things because I believed in them.
My mother has enough ambition for the whole world.
It's really hard as a single mom. I was scared to fail.
She wants us to win more than anything. It gets a little challenging at times.
But that's going to be part of your great story.
I was telling someone, I said, well, I've known of her and followed her, but then I watched the film, I was like, wow, there was so much I just didn't know.
But people who've known me for 25, 30 years didn't know that stuff. I just want you to know that you're in the majority of the company, because practically everyone who's seeing the film really didn't know all that.
I don't know who I think I am, but I do be trying.
Do you have a wish for the audience or a hope or takeaway that they'll get?
I hope that people understand the history. I feel like so many people come out of the film saying, like, I had no idea. I had no idea that this happened. I had no idea that the fashion world had gone through this, racist practices.
I'm not here to put anyone down. I'm here to bring everybody up.
Without Beth-Ann just having these press conferences and just kind of making everyone aware of that history, where it had been and where it needed to go, history will just repeat itself.
Once you meet this person, it's going to change your life.
Let's shake it up.
Check your local listings to see where you can see Invisible Beauty in theaters everywhere. Still to come, abandoned by his parents, meet a recording artist who turns personal pain into passionate lyrics and a real-life story of overcoming.
All the trauma and stuff I've experienced, that's just really a testimony to how powerful God is, and how powerful salvation is.
Nathan Sheridan shares his journey of faith and new music. At number 3.
I'm here with the squad. We must follow the clues to Zion Point, a mysterious location that cannot merely be found on Google Maps, trust me.
A behind-the-scenes look at what rhymes with reason, a film aiming to bring awareness to the tragedy of suicide and poor mental health. In theaters October 10th, World Mental Health Day, directed by Kyle Roberts.
Last night by the campfire, you said God has a plan for everyone. You really mean that?
Wait, what happened to the gunshots?
Yo, that was crazy. Those guys had like real guns. I feel so alive right now.
Okay, do you guys think this is a joke? Because we could literally all die out here.
Do you personally have a connection to a story of suicide?
As a young life leader, I was a volunteer leader for 8 years, and that's when my wife and I met. But we just kept seeing a rise of anxiety and depression, and their friends, taking their life, kind of thing too. And that's just so scary and wild. That's the age they live in. throughout their high school career, there may be 3 or 4, during their high school experience. And we can't have that. We have to take a stand and have a message of hope.
At number 2.
My name is Willie Gary.
Willie Gary.
Willie Gary.
William Gary.
Never heard of him. Mr. Gary hasn't lost a case in over 12 years.
Jamie Foxx back on screen in a Studio 5 first look at a film inspired by true events, in theaters October 6th and streaming October 13th. The Burial follows a funeral home owner in need of an attorney to save his family business in an unlikely bond that exposes corruption and injustice with a hefty dose of laughter.
You suggesting I hire this guy as one of my lawyers?
Y'all come on in.
Pleasure to meet you, Mr. Gary. Let me introduce you to my comrade.
How do you feel about working with black folk? I suppose I am a little prejudiced.
Did you meet my team?
I'm Chris. Deshaun. Reggie Douglas. Gentlemen.
He's suing us?
He's suing us? We are a $500 million corporation.
So, how much money y'all trying to get?
$8 million.
That ain't enough money. $100 million.
That leaves us with just one more story to share in this week's countdown. We'll get to it in just a little bit. Right now, we turn to contemporary Christian artist Nathan Sheridan. His music tells the story of faith and his powerful journey of overcoming tremendous odds. His latest single, Do You Know, speaks of those personal feelings, and it's a song for those feeling far away from God. You've got a new single?
I do. I have a new single out. It's been, just an amazing journey, actually. It's one of my, I know every artist says this, it's been one of my favorite songs I've ever released, and it's called Do You Know? It's not just a prodigal son story, it's really just for anybody that's ever struggled with feeling like they're far away from God or feeling like they're, too distant that He can't reach them.
Do you know He dances at the sound of your name? Do you know He longs to bless you over and over again?
Have you experienced that feeling far away from God?
All the time. Yeah, I think everybody does. I think I think it's more of always feeling distant from His will. Always feeling distant, that you're not really in the right place at the right time where He wants you to be.
Beginning to end, if you've ever wondered if it's really true.
My parents abandoned me and my sister at a really young age. And I was born in Louisiana, but they took us to Pensacola for a little while and got so bad off on drugs and alcohol that it was just, we can't do this anymore. And my grandparents drove in the middle of the night, came and got me and my sister. And, I didn't see my mom again after that night for close to 10 years. And my sister, shortly after being with my grandparents full time, she developed brain cancer and she ended up passing away from that. These emotions kind of going on, the shame of it all, kind of infiltrated into my life. But I think that's what really drove me so far into having an outlet for that. And just, I felt just God pulling me in that direction, so much encouragement from people saying, not just that they love my voice, but that they love my songs and my message and my testimony. And they just felt, I think the Lord was sending those people my way to be like, hey, we really believe you could do this. It was honestly a lot of belief around me from other people. I never believed in myself so much as other people believed in me.
With every whisper and prayer, every desperate tear you've cried, He's been there all along. He's never left your side. Oh.
You talked about the start of your story. Mom and Dad abandoned you. What has allowed you to be whole in light of that? Because people watching are experiencing some of the same things.
I accepted Christ at 14 years old, and it took everything in me to walk down the aisle and say, Lord, I trust you. I have faith in you. I believe you're Savior. I want you to be my Savior. But at the same time, it didn't make my mom and dad come back. And it didn't make my sister come back to life. There were still problems in my life. There were still things I had to get through. It took me a very, very long time, which is why I don't judge Christians who still go through a lot of trauma. It took me a very long time to figure out my identity in Christ. The story that I had before is really the story of somebody who's dead and gone. I'm a new man, you know, like Christ lives inside of me. I have a new story. I have a new destiny because of him. The authority that he has given me is the authority that I have. And despite my circumstances, despite the history of that person that I was, I can still forge ahead a new future. And we sometimes just forget that, wait, you know, the new man is born, the old man's dead and gone.
He longs to bless you over and over again. He is for you from beginning to end. If you've ever wondered if it's really true, there's nowhere he won't go. There's nothing he won't do, 'cause he loves you.
And you can find and hear Sheridan's Do You Know wherever you download, stream, or purchase your music. We need to take a quick break right here, but before we do, this is the time to share this week's story in pictures. Here's your Studio 5 snapshot. It's a science fiction action thriller. These are images from the film The Creator. Set in the future, it's a war between the human race and the forces of AI, artificial intelligence. It follows a former Special Forces agent recruited to hunt and kill a leader who's developed a mysterious weapon to destroy mankind. See what happens when people unite. The film is scheduled for release this week, and this sneak peek is this week's Studio 5 snapshot. Just moments away.
We're all here for you. You know that, right? All this weight that you're carrying doesn't have to all be on you.
Sticking together when times get tough. This film is a fight for better mental health, and its director is in Studio 5 to share what rhymes with reason.
It's a coming-of-age adventure drama. As they go on this journey, it allows them to break down these walls, to break down these barriers, and have these much deeper conversations.
Welcome back to Studio 5. World Mental Health Day is just around the corner, and filmmaker Kyle Richards is hoping that his film, What Rhymes with Reason, brings awareness to the tragedy of suicide and poor mental health, and in the end, guide others through tough times and tough discussions, and help young people understand why they are not alone.
This is once in a lifetime. Let's make it count.
Together we are better.
We're all here for you. You know that, right?
First off, describe for me the film, What Rhymes with Reason. What is it?
Yeah, it's a coming-of-age adventure drama. And the synopsis is there's a group of teens, there's 6 of them, and a tragedy happens in their life, and that ignites them to go on this journey into the wilderness.
We must follow the clues to Zion Point, a mysterious location that cannot merely be found on Google Maps. Trust me, I've tried, and it all starts at Worthington Acres, baby.
So think kind of Goonies-esque vibes, and really, as they go on this journey, it allows them to break down these walls, to break down these barriers, and have these much needed conversations about mental health, about anxiety, about depression, about thoughts of suicide.
Jesse, the meteor shower's in 2 days. What's a 3-day round trip? Can't we find another time? We don't always get another time.
What led to this type of story? Of course, you've got a myriad of things you could have chosen. Why this particular?
Yes. Growing up, I had to kind of walk around eggshells around my sister, older sister. She was a great big sister. But we found out in our 30s she was diagnosed bipolar.
Last night by the campfire, you said God has a plan for everyone. You really mean that?
Wait, what happened to the gunshots?
So that was another reason to not only just tackle suicide, which is we have to do, but mental health topics all the way around.
Yo, Yo, that was crazy. Those guys had like real guns. I feel so alive right now.
Okay, do you guys think this is a joke? Because we could literally all die out here.
How would you advise parents and young people seeing the film, especially if they see it together, how would you advise them to talk about it and not just see it?
Yeah, well, that's what we really carefully crafted this film to do as filmmakers and storytellers. Is watch this film together. It's totally through this fun adventure lens. But what we do throughout the film is break down these walls, break down these barriers. So if you're a parent or a youth worker and you're going with a teenager, it totally opens the door for them to talk about these much needed conversations because it's hard.
All this weight that you're carrying doesn't have to all be on you.
When young people see other young people suffering on screen, but also in a realm that shows togetherness and hope, it's powerful.
Together we are better, better. Together we are better, better.
October 10th is World Mental Health Day, and that is the day this film arrives in theaters. With that, we have made it to the final story in this week's countdown of the 5 best headlines at Uplifting Entertainment. Here is your number 1. At number 1.
This is Miss Kay. The Robertson family is telling it all in our new movie, The Blind. It's in theaters September the 28th.
And we have a Studio 5 first look at the Robertson family's Duck Dynasty story before it hits the big screen.
Here are these rare stories of how the impossible happened.
Miss Kay Caraway.
I feel.
Well,
Promise to love
and be with you forever.
this is one of those stories.
The film pulls back the curtain on the family's journey, including Phil Robertson's struggles with alcohol before finding faith.
Don't ever give up on yourself. Give your life to God. You'll be surprised that you are worth saving, or he wouldn't have sent Jesus to die for us.
We're fine.
I don't think we are, Phil.
I ain't the problem. You're the problem. Get out.
Hey there, welcome back to Studio 5. Music helps us to bring you this show every week, and this week's soundtrack comes from Victory Boyd. Take a listen, and you'll hear why her take on Psalm 91 is what's playing in my ear this week.
You shall not be afraid of the terror by night, nor the arrow that flies by day, nor the pestilence that walks in the darkness, nor of destruction that lays waste at noonday. 1,000 may fall at thy side and 10,000 at thy right hand, but it shall not come near you.
What a voice. On that musical note, we're just about out of time for this week's edition of Studio 5. So let's look ahead for a moment and see what's on next week's rundown.
Destruction is catastrophic.
This is no joke.
Inspired by true events, a family with a home in the woods facing a raging wildfire in a fight for survival. The actor and director is in Studio 5.
A film like this, I hope, well, my hope is that you can watch this and feel like this could be your family. You become part of this family's journey.
Be sure to join us for that next week and so much more. This week we've got time for just one more thing. We're going to give that to fashion icon Bethann Hardison. If you could give advice for someone trying to chart a path of success for their life, and they're looking at you and they're trying to say, well, how do I plan that? How did she do that? What advice would you give them?
It's a calling. I would just say, please know it's a calling. It's not, it's hard to look at someone else and say, I want to do that. I was just busy pushing the dirt where it needed to go. You know what I mean? It wasn't like, it was something I set out, thought about it, figured it out. It wasn't that. But in the day, somebody's got to speak on it, where people, you got to find a way that that the way you will approach something, people will listen.
Bethann Hardison, you've long been a personal hero from a distance. That is a great final word for this edition of Studio 5 and this week's look at uplifting entertainment. Until next time, make time to uplift someone around you, and then please come on back. See where Studio 5 takes you next week. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye, everybody.